Hi there, I'm Jesse Phillips. I play bass in St. Paul in the Broken Bones, and we're here at the Fox Theater in beautiful Oakland, California for a show this evening. I'm going to talk a little bit about the tonal stuff going on in my bass rig and how excited I am to have recently joined the Darkglass Electronics family. The number one sort of thing I'm starting with here, at least right now, because bass players are fickle. They're a fickle lot. They move around a lot from instrument to instrument. This is a Mulan P Classic 4. It's basically sort of an emulation of a vintage P bass. It's got a 59 neck and a lot of the most desirable features of vintage P basses. So talking to some bass player buddies and stuff, a lot of them are really getting starting to talk up the Darkglass stuff, and I learned about the head, and that's 900 watts of Class D power in 6.5 pounds. So starting a European tour next week in Paris, and I'm just going to stick this guy in my suitcase and play it for the 3-week run in Europe. The head is super versatile. I think that's one of the things that attracts people to it. It's got this 4-band EQ in here, and then in the low mid and the high mid section you can also select specifically which frequency you're affecting with the knob. So that's super helpful, especially with a P bass. I mean, a P bass is a pretty simple thing, one volume, one tone knob, so you're not doing a whole lot of shaping with the guitar. P bass just sort of like sounds like a P bass, which is great. But this gives you some options. If you feel like you're missing a little bit of meat somewhere, you can really spend some time with this EQ, kind of figuring out what exactly you need to dial in to kind of fill things out. There are 2, I think, overdrive engines built into this head. The VNT and the B3K. As I'm a person that sort of plays more comfortably with vintage tones and that kind of thing, the VNT overdrive section is really what I've been playing with. It kind of gives you a smooth, vintage, kind of tubey, natural compression, natural harmonics vibe. Whenever I get a new piece of gear or a new piece of equipment, I always kind of start with all the tone knobs in the middle. It's just set everything flat, straight up, 12 o'clock, and then kind of make adjustments from there. I don't know if that's the proper way to do it, or if the experts would tell you to do that, but it's always worked out well for me. So I did start with everything kind of straight up here in the EQ section, and then I've just sort of gradually I almost always end up kind of rolling the treble back on any amplifier. Also, the tone knob on the bass stays back probably 30%, 40%. I always keep the volume all the way up on my bass. So these are the ones that have been most helpful as far as like tone shaping, because you have these extra switchable bands within the knobs that you can affect. So the low mid knob has been extremely helpful as far as wrangling the P bass goes. The high mid section I haven't messed with quite as much. You can see it's pretty much still at 12 o'clock. And I'm still kind of getting the hang of it too. I've never had so many options before. What I found with this head is dialing kind of up some of the low mids a little bit kind of helps fill out the kind of punch register of the P bass. I don't know, because the low end can get a little bit floppy with a big old like vintage P sometimes if you're not careful with it. So having the ability to dial up some of these mids and then specifically select which frequency you're affecting has been really helpful as far as like keeping things even across registers, making sure all the notes on all the strings are really punching. been super pleased with it. I'm super psyched to have something that I can just stick in a backpack and go with. Fly dates. We do a lot of fly dates where we're just coming in, flying in across the country, playing one show. I can just stick that thing. It came with a cool little man bag kind of pouch thing. You can stick it in with all the cables and stuff, and just sling it over your shoulder and go. There's a lot to be said for something that weighs 6.5 pounds and is that powerful. So moving forward, especially like flying into rehearsals or recording dates and that kind of stuff, I really think that this is a great solution for a lot of us.